Yo, what is up everyone? Bullitt Gaming here today, and today we're going to be playing some more Project Flight. And today, as you guys saw, we're going to be buttering every single aircraft in Project Flight. So, we're going to start off here first with the Cessna 150A, so we're going to confirm this, and just select a random livery here. And for now, because we have smaller planes, we're going to spawn at Cabo Rojo, and we're going to start there. So, we are sadly in a public server because my private server won't work. It's a random Project Flight bug. I don't know if the devs even know it's a bug yet, but yeah, sadly we have to be out here in the public server. So we're going to be closing chat here, and I'm going to put the time at a decent time during the day so I can actually see. But here we go. We're going to get the engine started here on the aircraft. It clearly is having a bit of a glitch. But, okay. It has flaps, but it has no spoilers. The rudder does indeed work. All the control surfaces do work as supposed to, including the front gear. So we're going to taxi towards the runway here, and, the plan is to just quickly take off, and then what we're gonna do after we take off is we're gonna head out, do a quick U-turn, and come back for a landing. So this is actually probably one of the more hard airports to land at, due to the fact it's got a curved runway. But, I don't know if you guys even saw, but I did get a 1 feet per minute butter at this airport, and I'll have that video or shorts edit where, I did that up on screen in the corner. But yeah, even though it is a bit of a harder airport to land at, it definitely is not very, very hard to land at. So let's get going here. So there we go. Alright, after doing a quick U-turn, we are coming back in for a landing here at runway 30. It's obviously not the best approach, but as long as we still butter the landing, we will be okay. So I'm going to give it a little bit more throttle because I don't know what the stalling speed of this aircraft is. But it is pretty tiny. So we're going to come in for a landing here at runway 30, and we're going to see how well of a landing we're gonna get here. So it might not obviously be on the center line, but there you go. So there we go. We got a butter now, and of course we don't have reverse thrust, so we're stuck with just brakes. But there we go. First butter. So now let's move on to our next aircraft. Alright, and our next aircraft here will be the Piper M350. Now, we will be excluding Santa Sleigh because this isn't quite an aircraft, and it doesn't really have landing gear, and it's kind of it's not really an aircraft, so we're going to be excluding it from this. But yeah, we're going to come over to here, and, we're going to pick a livery. Actually, I like that livery. So we're going to take that livery, and, we're going to go spawn back at Cabo Rojo, and there we go. Alright, so we're going to spawn here at gate, let's go gate 1. Where's gate 1? Oh, right there, okay. So we're going to spawn right there real quick, and then we're going to head over to the runway and do the same thing we did. Alright, and we are now about to land here at Seabow, so let's see here. We're at about 120 knots, which is probably a bit fast for this aircraft, but we're still going to continue. And yeah, we don't have reverse thrust here, so yeah, so we're just going to have to land and use our brakes. So let's get a good land. Let's get a butter here, as usual. I didn't even touch the ground yet, but okay, I guess it knows I'm going to butter. Ooh, that would have not been a very butter landing. Alright. Trying to float down. There you go, 27 feet per minute butter, and there you go. So that is another butter landing. Now let's move on to the next plane. So the Baron G58 is the one that's supposed to have the cockpit, and from what I know, it doesn't have it. But I also did find out that, it does take a long time to get from one airport to another, so, yeah, we're just going to, go from Seabow to Punta Cana, because that's really close, rather than Cabo to Cabo, or, you know, Cabo to Seabow. So yeah, we're gonna park at a gate here, just any gate at this point, and, yeah, we're not even gonna really take off on the runway, we're just gonna start the engine and take off, and, we're gonna go butter at Punta Cana. Alright, and we are now almost here at Punta Cana. So as we can see, this plane doesn't have reverse thrust or spoilers either. So we're going to have to land without the use of reverse thrust or spoilers here, which is okay. We should be able to manage here. So we're gonna get set for about a landing speed there. I'm not too sure again what the landing speed on the smaller aircraft is. But this actually, for being a smaller aircraft, didn't make it up to 200 knots like the TBM or whatever did. Not the TBM, the M350. So that is kind of surprising because this one actually does have 2 engines, which I thought would help it get up to 200 knots at least like the other one, but I guess not. This thing, I think, got up to like 180 or 190 top before it didn't go any faster. So yeah, we're at 130 knots here, and we're on approach for the runway, and yeah, we'll see what kind of landing we get here. So yeah, I'm not actually used to landing these smaller planes, if you guys didn't know. I'm actually used to landing the bigger aircraft, which is nice. Which I think is why I'm first try landing these butter, because being able to land the bigger aircraft, I would say, is harder than being able to land the smaller aircraft. But yeah, pretty easy here. So there we go. There we go, 37 feet per minute butter, and there we go. We're still kind of floating there, so we'll get, there we go, and there we go. So now let's move on to our next aircraft. Alright, and now we're on one of the last smaller ones, the TBM 900, which was recently added, I guess you could say. So we're gonna see. We're gonna go with that livery there, and we're gonna do the same route we did, pretty much, because that was a decent route. It wasn't too long, wasn't too far, so yeah. Alright, and I actually got this plane at a really decent landing speed, so we're gonna see how well we do with this plane. Because I managed to actually get a decent landing speed. I'm not using autopilot for any of this, but I think on the bigger aircraft I might actually use autopilot, because it is a bit harder to get those to stay at a decent speed. But we might not. We'll see. Definitely for like the Eurofighter and Hawker T1 we're gonna do that. But not too sure about the other aircraft. So yeah. So we are 75 knots there. Alright, and we'll throttle it back there. Gosh, no. Well, we still managed to butter as the plane was stalling. No reverse thrust, so yeah, that's all we have. We somehow managed to butter. I really don't know if that was quite butter, but it considered it butter, so we're gonna take that, and we're gonna move on now. Alright, the next plane we're gonna be using is the Cessna Citation 2 here, which is a bit bigger, and we have a whole bunch of liveries obviously on it, so we're gonna go probably the PT-LPP, or yeah, we'll go, actually we'll go this one, because I kind of like that one. So we're gonna do the same route. This one actually is the first jet plane, so this one should hopefully be able to make it from Seabow to Punta in less time. We're gonna see what kind of landing we get here. We actually have a decent approach and speed here, so we might actually get a decent landing. And of course we have spoilers here, so that'll be really nice for landing. Right, and we haven't started stalling yet, so we'll give it a little bit more throttle to keep it hopefully at this kind of speed. And yeah. So this one doesn't have poppy lights, so we're just gonna have to kind of figure it out by ourselves, but I don't even use the poppy lights, so yeah. This is the first time I am actually approaching this airport from this side. I've only approached it actually I've approached it many other times for that one video, but that's the first time I'm approaching it from that side, which is interesting. But other than that, other than the video, I've only approached it one other time, and that was from the side I did the video on too. So yeah, there we go, and let's get a decent landing here, if we can. Nope. Okay, that did work, I guess. Okay, yeah, these aircraft were a little bit harder to do, because they do have a stall speed, and I don't really know what the stall speed is. But yeah, there we go. Now, let's go to the next aircraft. Alright, and so the next aircraft we're gonna get here is going to be the Hawker T1. So Hawk T1. I keep calling it the Hawker. I don't know why. So yeah, we only have a couple liveries on this aircraft, such as the Royal Air Force 19th Squadron, Royal Air Force Trainer, Saudi Hawks, and then Royal Air Force Red Arrows. For now, we're gonna go with the trainer because that's kind of what we're doing in a way. We're training to get butter landings. But yeah, we're gonna do not Seabow. Let's go until no, where is it? I forgot what it's called already. Arroyo Barrel to Seabow. Yeah, let's see what kind of landing we get here. Still kind of hard to control, but we'll keep it hopefully under control. Gosh, the lag. Why the lag? Why the lag? Why the lag all of a sudden? What the heck? Why the lag all of a sudden? What the heck? It's just so much lag down here. What the heck? Okay, just get... There we go. Okay, the lag's all gone. We're gonna try to land here. And... there we go soon. 64 feet per minute butter. Alright, there we go. So we do have no reverse thrust, so this is what we have for now. I really don't know why there's so much lag. There was not this much lag at the beginning, but okay. Now let's move on to our next aircraft here. Alright, and our next aircraft is going to be another really hard one to fly, the Eurofighter Typhoon. So we actually have a decent amount more liveries on this aircraft. It's mostly used in Europe. I think only actually used in Europe. But yeah, we're going to just select the livery here, and we're going to go spawn again at Arroyo and go to Seabow. So yeah, let's get down here, and, yeah, alright. So it is a bit hard to control, just so you guys know, at high speeds. As we can see, we're coming in for a landing here. It's still a bit hard to control. Even at 120 knots, it's really hard to control. Nope, it's wanting to stall now. Okay, if we hit the trees, it's whatever at this point. Okay, 18 feet per minute butter. Okay, it is decently hard to control, as we can see here. I don't want to abort the landing, so we're gonna just try... Oh, we didn't butter it! So yes, as we can see, this plane is a bit hard to fly, so now we're gonna go back around and go try to butter it again. Alright, we are coming back to Arroyo Barril for landing here. Hopefully we can get the butter here. And my plan is to hopefully just use the rudder as we get closer to the runway. My plan is to just kind of float down to the runway and use the rudder to kind of finish the float. So like steer me a little bit when I need it. So yeah, we're gonna finish the float here down to the runway. And the rudder is going to be what I try to use to continue the float down. So yeah, I do have it at 145 knots now. We're most likely going to hit these trees, but whatever at this point. We want to get down to the runway there. So yeah, we're floating down right now. Floating down using the rudder a little bit. So there we go. Let's see what we can do here. Alright, so now, because this one has reverse thrust, it does make it definitely a lot easier for us. Because once we land, we can put reverse thrust on and not... Plane does not like to flare really well. There we go, 12 feet per minute butter, and there we go. So we did overrun the runway just a little bit, maybe, but we did manage to butter. So now let's move on to the next aircraft here. Alright, so the next aircraft we have here is the Fairchild Metroliner 3. And we have a few things we can use, like Key Lime Air, Encore, Coal, DHL. We have a whole bunch of liveries here. So I think what we're going to use is actually... let's see. I'm going to go, I think, with... You know what? We'll just go with Key Lime Air for today. We're gonna spawn at, we'll go, we can actually spawn at a decent amount of airports. So we'll go, Arroyo Barril, this is the biggest aircraft that can actually spawn here, so that'll be interesting. But we're gonna spawn here at Arroyo Barril, and then we'll head off over to Seabow. and then we'll switch to the bigger aircrafts. Alright, there we go. So we are aligned for the runway here. Luckily, all the rest of the aircraft that we have on this list are easy to control, so we shouldn't have to do what we really did for the Eurofighter. And, yeah, this one has callouts. So this is the first aircraft to have callouts here. Alright, retard the throttle there, and we are ready to go. Alright, and we should be landing any second now, so... let's see. There we go, 27 feet per minute butter. Alright, reverse thrust is on now. So there we go. Alright, so there we go. Now let's move on to our next aircraft. Alright, so the next aircraft we have is the first commercial jet aircraft. Actually, I lied. It is the Dash Q400 here. So we're gonna go, let's see, what do we want? Let's see. We'll go with Alaska here. So we got Alaska Airlines here. I actually think this one might be able to spawn at... no, it cannot spawn at Royal. So now we're gonna do Seabow to, Punta here on the Dash 8. So let's start the aircraft up here, and we'll head over there. Alright, and we're gonna retard the throttle here. This one does have callouts, as we can see. And we are now ready for landing. Let's flare a little bit here for landing. There we go, 35 feet per minute butter. And reverse thrust is now on. And we are good. So yeah, we did manage to land here, and we shouldn't actually overrun the thing, so we'll be good. So now let's move on to our next aircraft. Alright, and now we're on to the first jet aircraft, which is the Fokker 100 here. This one's a bit of a different aircraft, but I have flown this plane once for the channel, and it's a pretty decent aircraft here. So, yeah, we'll probably go American Airlines. Yeah, let's go... we'll go American Airlines here, and we're gonna go spawn again at Seabow, and we're gonna go head over to Royal. Alright, retarding the throttle there. And gonna float down now. And the interesting thing you guys can see is that this plane doesn't have sound for when you get the idle or the throttle to idle. As we see here, there are spoilers on the wings which do come up for a reverse thrust. The buckets on the engines do come up, and then we do have this that's still up. But yeah, now let's move on to our next aircraft here. Alright, and then the next aircraft here is we have a little bit more modern Boeing 717-200 here. So again, we're going to start at Seabow and go over to Arroyo Barril. Alright, and here we go for the 717 landing here at Arroyo Barril. We are a little bit faster than what I usually do. I usually do 125 knots for landing, but I'm not really using the autopilot, so I'm just doing it manually. So yeah, we'll retard the throttle in a second. There we go, throttle's been retarded there. And we're gonna kind of float down till we are ready to touch down there. So these newer planes, they do kind of float down before they touch down. So as we can see, there we go, 10 feet per minute butter there, as we can see, which is actually really good, but not the best that I've gotten in the 717. But yeah, now we'll move on to our next aircraft here. Alright, and the next aircraft here is the Airbus A220 here. So we're going to, let's see, we're gonna select the Delta liver here, and we're gonna head over to Arroyo Barril. This will be the last plane to head over to Arroyo Barril. Alright, and here we're going for a landing here. We'll retard the throttle in a couple seconds as we get closer to the ground here. And, there we go, we'll retard it there. Oh, I didn't even realize there was callouts. This plane's so loud. Yeah, let's see. Oh, we didn't really float. We kind of went up, but that's okay. We'll float down. Alright, 26 feet per minute butter there. 18 feet per minute, I guess. So it was 18 instead, or 26. 18 and 26. We'll go 18, though, just because that's a bit better. And, yeah, now let's move on to the next aircraft here. Alright, so the next aircraft we actually have here is the Boeing 737, and we'll be doing this one in the cockpit view for one of them, and then we'll also be doing the outside view. So first off, we'll start with the outside view here, and then we'll do the cockpit view on the next round. So we're going to be doing Cibao to Punta. So I did actually decide against my idea of going to Punta, and we're going to head over to Arroyo Barril. This will be one of the last planes. I think the A320 will be the last, probably, to head over to here. So yeah. We'll also do the cockpit. Well, actually, we'll probably do the cockpit landing at, Punta, because that has a longer runway and gives me more time to kind of float, you could say. So yeah, we'll be doing the cockpit landing over there, but we'll do the normal landing over here. So yeah, as we can see, flaps and spoilers. But yeah, no slats. This is an older model. I forget that I actually have a cockpit view. But yeah, this is an older model aircraft. So yeah. But we're gonna be coming in for a landing here. I'm gonna give about 25% throttle here because this is since this is an older plane, a bit more of a sensitive plane. So we're gonna come in for a landing here. I am definitely high, but that's okay. Alright, and then we'll retard the throttle probably over the white section. And, alright, we'll retard it now. Alright, there we go.
10.
Alright, and there we go, butter landing. And now we'll go get the A320, actually, and we'll go land over here before we head over to Punta Cana in the cockpit view. Alright, and the next aircraft we have is the A320 here. So we are going to select this aircraft. So this aircraft is kind of OP. Like, the engines are very, very sensitive, and they do get up to high speeds very quickly. So this plane definitely is going to be a bit of a more interesting plane to fly. But yeah, we'll come over here, spawn, and we'll head over to Arroyo for the last flight there, and then we'll head over in the cockpit view to Punta. Alright, and here we go for landing in the A320 here. So we're a bit slow here, but yeah, well, not really slow, but we're a bit slow for the aircraft. But yeah, we'll retard the throttle soon here. And there we go. So this plane is a bit more sensitive. So, it is a bit harder to control on landing. But it is controllable and manageable for landing. It just, is kind of hard and wonky to control on landing. There we go, 19 feet per minute butter, and that'll be the last plane to come here to Arroyo for the day. Now let's move on to the 737 cockpit view. Alright, and we are back with the 737 here, so now we're gonna get different livery here. Let's go you know what, let's go the special livery, USA 24. Oh wait, I didn't put the livery on, oops. It should be somewhere, there we go. Now it's on. So now we'll come over to Cibao, and we'll head over to Punta Cana for a cockpit landing in the 737 here. Alright, and here we go in for a landing at Punta Cana in the cockpit view of the 737 here. So, we're heading for this runway right here, which I forgot what runway this is. We're 300 feet above the ground, and, yeah, it'll be an interesting landing. I have buttered in the cockpit view before, so it shouldn't be too terribly hard. But yeah, we'll see. So, we're aligned for the runway there, and, we're definitely a bit high, so I'll push the nose down a bit like that. And, yeah, we'll be ready to land very soon. Alright, there we go. So now we just wait to touch down. At some point we'll touch down there. And you just kind of float. There you go. 68 feet per minute butter there in the cockpit. Definitely not a really good butter, but it's a butter, and it was in the cockpit view, so definitely it is a bit harder. So yeah, there we go. Now let's move on to the next aircraft. Alright, so the next aircraft we have here is the 757, and we're gonna go with the Pratt & Whitney here, and then we'll go with the Delta. We're not gonna do the Rolls-Royce because it's not very much of a difference between the Pratt & Whitney and Rolls-Royce versions other than the engines. So we'll start at Seabow, and then we'll head over to Punta Cana. Alright, and we are coming back in for a landing here at Punta Cana now. And, yeah, we're in the 757-200 here. So the next aircraft we're going to have after this is going to be the 787, which was also recently remodeled here. So we're going to come in for a landing here at the runway that we did last time. We'll see what kind of landing we get here. So this one doesn't have gears that are toted very much. So this one probably won't be as good of a landing as it could be. But it still will be a pretty nice and smooth landing there. So let's retard the throttle now. And we'll land here on runway 8. Runway 8 here. Alright, there we go. 26 feet per minute butter on runway 8 there. And now we'll switch on to our next aircraft here. So let's go check that aircraft out. Alright, and now we're going to come over to the Boeing 757, which is another Roblox aircraft. I'll have the, hold up, let's see, Sky Team KLM, okay. I'll have the cost of this aircraft up on screen, and then I'll also have the review for this aircraft up on screen, as it is a Roblox aircraft. So now we're going to come from Seabow again to Punta Cana there. Alright, and then we are coming in for another landing here at runway 8 with the 787 Dreamliner in the KLM Sky Team livery, which is a special livery, and I'll have the livery code up on screen if you guys didn't see it from before. But yeah, we're going to come in for a landing here on runway 8, and then we'll move on to our next aircraft here. So this one is an aircraft that I don't quite fly as much. It kind of has about the same amount of gear towed as the 757, a little bit more though. So it won't be really kind of like the A330 kind of landing, but it'll still be pretty decent. So we are here now, and we're gonna retard the throttle there. And there we go. So now we'll just kind of float down to the runway, and we'll land when we are like right there. Alright, and there we go. We got a 53 feet per minute butter. And there we go. So now let's go switch on to our next aircraft. Alright, and our next aircraft is the long-awaited A330-300 here. So we're gonna get, I think there's an there's an American Airlines here. And, this is not quite really used a plane. The 200 is used more. But yeah, we'll come over to Seabow here, and then we'll head over to Punta Cana there. Alright, and now we are in the butter machine, and we're about to land here at runway 08 here. And we're gonna see what kind of landing we get here in the butter machine, or A330. And yeah, so we'll retard the throttle pretty soon here. We do have it at 140-ish knots right now for landing, which is pretty decent. And we'll retard the throttle kind of as we get closer to the runway. So we'll retard the throttle like at the end of these. About, yeah, here. So there we go. And we are ready for landing now. Alright, let's see what kind of landing we get here in the butter machine. Okay, floating down slowly. And there we go. 22 feet per minute butter there in the butter machine. And that was pretty smooth there. So now let's move on to the next aircraft. Alright, and the next aircraft here is the Boeing 777-300ER. We're gonna take United Airlines if we can find it. Yeah, there's United. And we'll head over to Punta Cana for a landing here. And then, and throttle's already been retarded. So we'll just kind of float down now that we are slower. And we'll see what kind of landing we get here. And there we go. We have a 19 feet per minute landing here at Punta Cana in the 777-300ER. So now alright, so I may have lied. We actually do have another aircraft here, and that is the McDonnell Douglas MD-11. So let's see. We'll do, we'll do FedEx Panda here, and we'll head over from Cibao to Punta Cana again. There we go, floating down here, and that is going to be pretty smooth. 25 feet per minute, McDonnell Douglas 11 landing. That was pretty nice. That's probably the smoothest landing I've actually ever gotten in this aircraft. Not a 25 feet per minute, but like just how smooth and how perfectly I touched down. That's probably the best I've gotten in this aircraft. But yeah, now let's switch on to the final aircraft. Alright, and after almost 2 hours of recording, we're finally on the last aircraft here, the Airbus A350-900. So we're once again going to be going from Cibao to Punta Cana here in the A350-900 right and here, and we'll get rid of we'll retard the throttle relatively soon here. So yeah, there we go. Let's keep it like that for now, and we'll retard the throttle now. Yep. And we'll float down a little bit towards the landing area, and yeah, there we go. 40 feet per minute butter, so it wasn't obviously very smooth looking because of the way the gears are, but there we go. That is all the Project Flight aircrafts buttered, on first try except for the Eurofighter, because that plane is, like, impossible to control. But yeah, that's every single Project Flight aircraft buttered, so I think that is going to be all for today's video. If you guys did enjoy today's video, then please leave a like and subscribe, it does help me out. And then don't forget to join my Discord down below so you know when I post new videos like this one. But with that, everyone, have a great day, and I'll see you guys again next time. Goodbye.